Looking within, have you ever driven somewhere you really wanted to go but had never been before? How did you know how to get there? Most likely, you used some kind of map, whether it was a map on paper or on the internet. You found your destination by looking for the address or town and said to yourself, "That is where I want to be." But was that all it took? No. You then had to find the location you were starting your trip from on the map as well. It could have been your home, the home of a friend you were picking up on the way, etc., and decided on the best route to take to get from your starting point to your end point. Even if you asked someone else for directions, they would first have to know where you were coming from. Oh, but what about my GPS navigation system, where I only have to tell it where I want to go and it directs me, you may say. True, but before that GPS navigation system can tell you which road to take, it first must figure out for itself where it and you at that moment are. There's no way around it. The only way to determine the best path to take is to know both where you want to end up and where you are now. The same thing is true for this journey called life. You may know exactly where you want your life to lead, what qualities you want in your life, and the types of people and experiences you want to surround you. But until you take a look at your current situation, we'll call it location, it will be very hard to know the best way to get to the life of your dreams. The process of determining where you truly are now begins by looking within. But it's dark and scary in there. Many of us have spent most of our lives avoiding that look within. We deny, repress, and suppress our feelings and pain of the past. We distract ourselves with work, play, sex, alcohol, drugs, food, shopping, watching hours and hours of television, surfing the internet, stressing about money, getting caught up in gossip and drama about who said and did what to whom, and much, much more. While most of these activities can be fun, and some may even be healthy and balanced, no, I'm not asking you to give up your favorite TV shows. It is important to look at the context of why you're doing what you're doing. Is it because it is what you really want to be doing? Or is it because you are keeping busy or numbing yourself in an attempt to ignore what is really happening, either in your life or in your head? Let's take this one step at a time. If you are not ready to look within, and if you're not, that's fine. That is where you are. No judgment here. Then how about taking a look around? Take the time today to look at things that you do not normally notice. Notice the details of things. Enjoy the scenery, but look behind the scenes. Feel the open space around you. Look at an object of your choosing, like a photographer or an artist would look at it. Appreciate its beauty and the experience of seeing it. Give it your full attention for as long as you like. Examine the details, the colors, and the shapes. Look at it long enough to remember it later. Feel an appreciation for this opportunity to see something in a new way, and congratulate yourself for being open-minded enough to try. Take a long look at something you find beautiful in nature, a sunrise, a flower, a landscape, or a shadow from a tree. Find something breathtaking. Look for rainbows. Feel an intimacy with your awakening awareness, the changing nature of your surroundings, and your unique perspective. By all means, stop and smell the roses. As you start to look more closely at the world around you, notice what you have been missing. You will find that you are witnessing some very uncommon and unique events. Looking at the night sky, you see a shooting star. The rising sun serves as the background for a group of migrating birds. Events are happening right in front of you that you may be missing because of distractions. Determine how much time you spend indoors and how much time you spend outside. Feel the grass on your bare feet. Don't be afraid to walk on rocks. Do as much of this as you can. While you're outside in the sun or under the clouds, in a city or in the country, go out and find something in nature that you may be taking for granted. Being more aware of your surroundings enriches your life by the end of the day. If you have found one thing that you enjoy noticing, then you are on your way to being able to create extraordinary experiences. Then when you're ready, you can begin using your new observational skills to begin looking at something truly beautiful and breathtaking. You. Looking within is stepping into an internal realm. You become a witness to your own acts. Every category of self-investigation. We will have techniques to assist in creating internal balance. You will look at what emotions are stuck and trace the feelings back to the original event where you made a stand about who you were and what life was about. You will see rationalizations, justifications, or even excuses as to why you have taken those stands. Now, the word stand seems to indicate an immovable, unchangeable position. But by looking within, you will find your stands are simple patterns of reactions and behaviors you took on based on past situations or experiences, and therefore completely within your power to change when the time is right for you. Looking within is an act of integrity with yourself. It allows those patterns of reactions and behaviors to take a rest long enough to look one step deeper to your thoughts and feelings at the moment of the incident. What were you thinking and feeling right before you reacted? Be still, be quiet, breathe evenly. Bring up in your mind the event that you feel has captured and held hostage your thoughts and feelings. Now surrender those thoughts and feelings to your kidnappers. Your kidnappers could be a person, event, situation, or justification in your mind. Temporarily surrender those stuck thoughts and feelings to whoever or whatever prompted your reaction. Allow your cycle of reactions and justifications to slow and stop by simply observing it. Looking within is a practice. The more you practice, the further back you can go, step by step. You can begin breaking the cycles of your own reactions, justifications, and stuck mind. Soon you will see a place where you are free to act on your own will as your own joyful being. Take a moment and check in with yourself, objectively, observing each and every aspect of your life as if you were simply watching it all on a TV or movie screen. How do you see the situation in your life today? Are you seeing your today as an opportunity to have adventures and learn lessons? Or just living life as a series of reactions based on memories and beliefs formed by the difficulties you encountered growing up? How do you see the world around you? As you go through your life, you usually look at other people and events from your own perspective and only see things and situations from your own point of view. Each and every one of us fights to defend and protect our own point of view and perspectives. But do you really know what you're fighting to defend and protect? Where does your perspective come from? Your individual perspective depends on how you were raised, the events you experienced throughout your life, and the stories you told yourself about those events. Family, friends, and peers, teachers, religious groups, culture groups, etc. have taught you what was right, wrong, good, bad, acceptable, and unacceptable. This education and who we should be has been called domestic conditioning by some. Much of the drama and distress in your life stems from not just your experiences, but the reactions, perceptions, beliefs, and conditioning about those experiences that you have taken on from others. Whether that information you received was a real truth, a distortion of the truth as presented by your parents, peers, or teachers, or stands that you took about yourself and your life, it lives in your mind as an image and a real condition. That image is not really you. It has a life of its own within you until you examine it with objectivity and awareness to determine if the image is really your truth or one you have taken on from others. Remember, we were once taught and believed that the world was flat. Now we know differently. The shift came when one person was courageous enough to say, hey, maybe we need to look at this belief and see if it is even really true. Every person's perspective is different. Each person has their own set of actions and reactions based on their experiences in the past. That is why you cannot take anything personally that is expressed to you by another person, and you do not always have to take on other people's perspectives as your own. Example: the farmer likes and needs the rain for his field of vegetables. A race car driver views the rain as dangerous during his time on the racetrack. Now, each person has a different reaction to the same event of rain based on their individual perspective. Each man's success will depend on what he says to himself about the event and how this shifts his perspective. When we talk about a shifting of perspective, we are simply describing how a person changes his beliefs. Your thoughts are the author of the stories you have written about who you are and your experiences in life. Your stories are more fiction than reality until you look at your beliefs. Your stories try to live your life for you and resist your taking control and really deciding what is your truth. But the stories were not there when you first breathed life. As a baby, your mind was completely open to everything around you. Your concepts of right and wrong were not yet formed, and the only self-image you had was your reflection in a mirror. As you grew up, your image of yourself became less based on your actual reflection, your own feelings and belief in yourself, and more based on the way other people saw you and convinced you they were seeing the real you. As these images piled on over time, your self-image became more distorted. If your mind was filled with negative comments, you will see yourself in a negative way. If you were given positive feedback, you will react in a more positive way to the world around you. You can become addicted to the opinion of others, slowly becoming less dependent on your ability to decide who you are for yourself and more dependent on the concept of you formed by others. Step back from your own perspective and observe the situation objectively from the outside. This is a conscious action you have the option to take so as not to get caught up in judgments, stories, and reactions. In later chapters, you will learn some techniques to write out your reactions after an upsetting event, question your belief, and dispute any irrational ideas. This will help you shift your perceptions in different life areas and see the truth about you and your life in a clear, more exciting way. Only when we can identify our thoughts can we understand where they come from and how well they serve us. By bringing objectivity and awareness in our thoughts as they appear, you can evaluate the merit, worthiness, and character of that thought. We can ask ourselves, who is the thinker of the thought? Whose tapes am I playing? Mom, dad, church, friend, etc. What is the purpose of the thought? What feelings or emotions does it bring up for me? What will the consequences of this thought be? Healthy or unhealthy habits being formed? Judgmental, critical, or positive affirming messages to myself? This exercise will help you to train your mind to utilize its capacity to respond in a healthy way rather than a habitual way. This is one of the steps to emotional freedom. When the look inward brings bad news. You also know that when you begin to look within, there are usually some unpleasant feelings to confront. Many decisions and attitudes have developed in response to negative conditioning or survival skills. Not every lesson of your conditioning was based on accuracy or truth. Not every lesson that was valid in the past applies usefully to you now. What do you do with this information? The terrific part of this is that through awareness, you can begin creating new possibilities. Awareness means opening your eyes to see the truth, so you are no longer blind. Once you have confronted and recognized that past events have affected you, but do not permanently own you, then your perspective, your beliefs, and the way you look inward changes forever. Just the act of becoming aware automatically allows a shift to begin.